Welcome back to Simply Scratch Kitchen. My name is Hannah if you're new here. Today I've got 3 really simple one-pot soup recipes for you that are going to be really nourishing but come together so quickly as we all have a lot going on heading into the holiday season, but we still want to get some really budget-friendly nourishment into our families' bellies and keep them well through the winter. So I'm going to be sharing those with you. And perfect for soup season, I'm excited because today's video is sponsored by Monkey Proof. Monkey Proof sells these amazing stainless steel bowls for children, and I don't know about you, but I usually have one of 2 options when I am serving my children really hot foods like soup. I can either put them in plastic bowls or put them in my nicer ceramic bowls, and those of course get very warm and they're at risk of dropping them, but I don't always want to put hot food in plastic. That's where these come in. Not only are they food grade stainless steel, non-toxic, they are also covered in this thick silicone so that when I hand my kids a bowl of soup, the heat is not coming through. It's not going to burn them, and they are able to hold it themselves and have a nice grip on it. It also grips nicely onto the table, so we've had way less spills since using these. They come in a pack of these really fun 4 colors, or you can purchase some of the same color, and they also have some with a ribbed edging on them as well for extra grip. I've used these every day for months and they hold up beautifully in the dishwasher. If you want to hand wash them, that's great too, but I just throw them in the dishwasher and they're still in perfect condition. They've been dropped on the floor, everything, and they're holding up beautifully. If you would like to try the Monkey Proof bowls yourself, they've given me a coupon code Hannah, HANNAH 15, and you can try these. I think you really will love them if you've been looking for some good non-plastic dishware for your children that really holds up nicely. This is definitely it. Without further ado, let's jump into our soup recipes. This first one is one of my husband's favorites. It's a beef, bean, and butternut squash soup, perfect for fall time and packed full of nutrients. I start by browning a pound of ground beef, but you could absolutely use ground turkey, ground chicken, or ground sausage in this as well. I add a 1/2 cup of pumpkin puree. This just adds a nice thickness and creaminess to the soup and really complements that butternut squash flavor, and of course some additional nutrition as well. I add some Worcestershire sauce and about 2 cups of beef broth to this soup as well. I'm adding 2 cups of frozen chopped butternut squash to this soup. You could definitely use fresh, but if you've ever cut a butternut squash, you know that can be quite time consuming and messy. So I really like to order this frozen butternut squash from Azure Standard. It's a great price. And then I'm adding 1 can of black beans. These are some I canned up myself, but a can from the grocery store or a couple cups from a pot you cooked up will work perfectly too. I just let all of this simmer together, of course some salt and pepper, and this comes together very, very quickly and is so nutrient dense and filling. I sometimes do a little cheese on the top if you like that, and this just makes a ton of food. And you can see here I'm serving up my kids' bowls in these nice Monkey Proof bowls as well. There's nothing more classic than a bowl of tomato soup. I'm going to show you how easy and inexpensive it is to make yourself, and the flavor is going to be incredible. Obviously, it's so good served with a grilled cheese sandwich. So I start with a tablespoon of butter melting down in my saucepan, and then I'm adding just about a 1/2 of an onion to this as well. It doesn't have to be chopped super finely because we're going to blend this all in the end. I just want to get a really nice golden toast and saute on these onions because it's going to add a lot of sweet flavor to our soup. To this, I'm going to add my salt and pepper while those are still searing a little bit. If you want to turn this into a tomato basil soup, you could also add some dried basil to the soup as well, but I'm going to make this just kind of plain and straightforward. Once you see those onions browning on the bottom of your pan, you're going to add about 2 cups or just 1 jar of tomato sauce. You can do chunked tomatoes or you can do stewed tomatoes. What I have here is just some crushed tomatoes that I canned up, and then we're going to add those straight to the pot, and you want to deglaze all of that brown flavor on the bottom of your pan. I'm going to add one more jar of water and let this simmer for about 20 minutes. Once all those vegetables have cooked down, I'm going to add 1 cup of milk. You could use half and half as well if you want it extra creamy. And then I'm blending this together with my immersion blender, but you could do this in a regular blender as well. This recipe would also be really amazing in the crock pot if you just want to let it sit and simmer together all day. The longer it simmers, the better the flavor will be. But this came together in about 20 minutes for me, and the flavor is just fantastic, and you can feel really confident about all of the ingredients in your soup. While this was cooking, I put together a nice little sourdough grilled cheese to go on the side, and you just cannot beat this as a meal for the fall and winter time. So I definitely hope you give this a try. It's amazing flavor, and you're gonna love it. Finally, I'm going to make some cabbage roll soup, and this soup will feed an army on an extremely low budget. So we're just going to get started again with a pound of ground meat. You can use sausage, turkey, chicken, or I used ground beef again. I'm mincing 2 cloves of garlic, but you can use garlic powder as well if that's what you have. This recipe would also be great in the crock pot. It would be nice and easy to just get this meat browned up and then let all of the rest of your ingredients sit throughout the day, and you're going to have an amazing big pot of stew at the end of the day for yourself. I'm adding about 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, and then I'm going to be adding a can of diced tomatoes. I think crushed tomatoes would also be really good in this if you have people in your family who don't want as much of the chunks in their soup. But you can use whatever suits your fancy. I'm just using that 14.5-ounce can. Deglaze the bottom of your pan with those tomatoes and then add a cup of rice. I'm using instant brown rice, but you can definitely use regular rice. You know, your soup will just cook a tiny bit longer, but it's not going to be a big deal. Either one is going to work. I'm just doing basic salt and pepper in here, but some onion powder or Italian seasoning would be great as well. Just use whatever you have and what you like. I toasted my rice for just a minute or two for some extra flavor, and then I added 3 cups of beef broth to this. Next, I'm going to chop up my cabbage just into small strips, kind of what you would want bite-sized pieces to be. And I did about 1/2 of a large head of cabbage here. Cabbage just fills out a meal so well. You'll see this makes a huge pot of soup for so inexpensive. I probably only used about 50 cents of cabbage, but I've got this added in here, and then I'm going to top it off with some more water as well. The last ingredient I'm adding is a can of beans. This time I'm using cannellini beans, but I have used red beans in the past, and either one works great. Of course, between the beef, the cabbage, the beans, this is a really bulky soup that's going to keep you full. And so once I've got all of this in here, I'm going to add about another 2 to 3 cups of water just to make sure everything is covered, because of course that rice is going to absorb quite a bit of water, and we need that cabbage to cook down as well. I left this to simmer for about 15 minutes, and then it was totally done. Like I said, this would be great for the crock pot because you could leave this on low all day and you would have a really nice soup at the end of the day. I would definitely use regular rice and not instant rice if you're going to do that, but otherwise it should come together beautifully. This makes about 8 bowls of super hearty, nourishing stew, and especially if you have smaller children, you'll probably get even more servings out of it. But this can definitely feed an army and is so good. I hope you enjoyed these soup videos. If you did, please like and subscribe so you don't miss future ones. And again, if you would like to try monkey proof bowls yourself, I will leave the coupon code and their website down below so you can get some for your own family. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.